Today, we're diving into La Niña, a powerful weather pattern that cools the surface waters of the eastern Pacific Ocean, creating a ripple effect that can be felt around the globe. This cooling doesn't just stay over the ocean. It changes weather worldwide, including right here in California, by influencing wind patterns, rainfall, and even temperatures. When the Pacific runs cooler than usual, it shifts the paths of storms, often pushing them away from California. This can mean less rain and snow for us, which is a big deal for our state. Right now, scientists say there's a high chance La Niña will shape our weather from October to December, California's crucial wet season, when we rely on storms to fill our reservoirs and build up mountain snowpack. This matters because our water supply depends on winter storms. If La Niña brings drier weather, it could mean less water for cities, farms, and wildlife. La Niña and its opposite, El Niño, are natural climate cycles that scientists track closely using satellites, ocean buoys, and weather balloons to predict and prepare for big changes. For California, a La Niña forecast is a warning. Our usual weather could be disrupted, droughts could worsen, and our water supply is at stake if storms don't arrive. That's why everyone's watching La Niña this year, from scientists and farmers to families at home, hoping to understand what the coming months will bring. La Niña doesn't treat all of California the same. It usually pushes storms north, leaving Southern California drier and at higher risk for drought and wildfires. This winter, forecasters expect below-average rainfall in the south. Northern California's outlook is less certain, sometimes wet, sometimes dry, depending on where the jet stream lands. The Sierra Nevada snowpack, mostly in the north, is vital for our water supply. If storms miss the north too, the whole state could face shortages. La Niña can also bring cooler air, but if it stays offshore, it means dry, gusty winds, and more fire danger. The impact of La Niña is complex and varies across California. Last year showed California's north-south weather split. The north got plenty of rain and snow, filling big reservoirs and boosting our water supply. Southern California, though, had one of its driest starts on record, with cities like Los Angeles and San Diego far below normal rainfall. Even Sacramento ended the year with less rain than usual. The snowpack reached average levels, but warm spring temperatures melted it quickly, making it harder to store. Luckily, previous wet years left our reservoirs full, giving us a buffer. But that cushion won't last forever. That's why every storm this winter matters. Reservoirs and snowpack are California's water savings accounts, acting as vital storage systems that help us weather the state's dramatic swings between wet and dry years. These natural and man-made reserves are the backbone of our water security, ensuring we have enough supply even when rainfall is scarce. Reservoirs like Shasta and Oroville collect and store rainwater and melting snow, holding it until we need it most during the long, hot, and dry summer months. They act as giant bathtubs, capturing water that would otherwise rush out to sea. The Sierra Nevada snowpack acts as a frozen reservoir, slowly releasing water as it melts in spring. This gradual melt is essential, feeding rivers and streams that supply millions of Californians and countless acres of farmland. About a third of our water comes from this snow, making it one of the most important sources for the entire state. When the snowpack is deep, it means more water for everyone. Most of our rain and snow falls in just 3 winter months, making us vulnerable if those months are dry. A single dry winter can have ripple effects, leading to water shortages and increased drought risk. La Niña's dry forecast for Southern California is especially worrying because it targets our most important water season. If storms miss us, reservoirs and snowpack can't recover, putting extra pressure on our water supply. Without strong snowpack and full reservoirs, drought can hit fast, leaving communities, farms, and wildlife struggling to find enough water. Managing these resources wisely is crucial for our cities, farms, and environment. Careful planning and conservation help ensure that California can thrive, even in the face of unpredictable weather and changing climate. California's weather is swinging between drought and floods, what scientists call weather whiplash, and these extremes are becoming more frequent and intense. Climate change is amplifying these swings, making it harder to predict what's coming next and putting more pressure on our water systems. In wet years, California's hills and valleys burst into life, with lush vegetation and wildflowers carpeting the landscape. But when drought returns, all that growth dries out. turning into fuel for wildfires that can sweep across the state with devastating speed. We saw the consequences firsthand with the major fires in early 2025, which left scars on both the land and communities. La Niña, a recurring climate pattern, adds to the risk by drying out Southern California, making the region even more vulnerable to fire and water shortages. This means water supplies can become uncertain, especially for farmers and rural communities who depend on every drop. To adapt, California is investing in smarter water management, upgrading infrastructure, using technology, and planning for the unexpected. Moving water from the wetter north to the drier south helps balance supply, but it's only part of the solution. Increasingly, the focus is on recharging groundwater, letting water soak back into underground aquifers during wet years to save for dry times. New rules and better data collection help us treat groundwater as a vital water bank, tracking every drop and planning for the future. This year, we're starting with full reservoirs, a rare advantage that gives us some breathing room. But a dry La Niña winter could quickly drain them, reminding us that water security is always at risk. The challenge is real, but so is our progress. Smarter water use, conservation, new storage methods, and community action are making a difference. Our future depends on staying prepared for whatever nature brings, from sudden floods to long dry spells. That's why watching La Niña, tracking its patterns and understanding its impacts, and acting on what we learn, matters more than ever, as we work together to secure California's water future.